Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to share with you how I've managed a complex marketing project inside of ClickUp. That's managing timelines, deliverables, a lot of elements all in one. So this was a lead generation, full funnel project, right? So we're talking all the way from the product creation at the very beginning, the lead magnet, through to the point where we're actually going to be selling the offer that they want to be pushing. And this was a really involved project. And honestly, it went over as seamlessly as any project as ever has. So I feel like it's worth sharing how I did that in ClickUp this time so that you can see in action, like in the tool, how it actually looks and feels, and kind of talk over some of the things along the way as well, things to look out for. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about and share with you that I added this time was actually managing the dates. So I started creating this list for strategy and planning, and this is really, the purpose of this is just so that we have these like, okay, we want to launch this on this date, and then everything, all of the projects that ladder up to that actually becoming true, then kind of get organized in the context of that. So I decided I was going to launch this ebook yesterday. Actually, you know what, in full transparency, it ended up getting pushed. But the initial date was set and documented. And I find this really helpful because a lot of times these kind of dates don't really live. They maybe live in a doc, like a strategy doc. But I just liked having it inside of ClickUp. And the reason for that is when I looked at the projects, it was in the context of the dates as well. So you can see like ebook launch was yesterday, and then these are the projects that actually needed to ladder up to this happening. And so it was just being able to look at everything in one view, all of the projects and all of the dates, to make that a reality. I like this. Now, for some people, this might be a little intimidating to look at. There's a lot going on, and I would say that that's true. There is a lot going on here, but once you start to get the sense of it, it's a lot easier than you think it would be. It becomes kind of soothing actually to have it all documented in one place. Now, having said that too, the best part about ClickUp is this multi-layer approach to it, right? So I talk about this all the time for ClickUp. This is a core part of its functionality, is how all of the layers kind of nest into each other. So like at the folder level, I'm looking at all of these lists in one view, right? That's why it kind of looks a little more cluttery, like, oh, there's a lot going on here. We can drill down and look at these things individually within the list. So it doesn't have to be confusing and overwhelming. And I think one of the coolest ways that this transpired was for product development, right? So the actual products that we were creating for this funnel were all being managed in this product development list or documented here. But then what I also added was a different view to keep track of like the actual landing page or the actual product links and locations, right? Because so for like a lead magnet, you're going to have your landing page, your thank you page, if you're doing it that way, and then also a link to what it is that you're, like a hosted link to your asset, right? So we're hosting our ebook on the actual website. So I have a link that I can reference again in the future. And this is so helpful. Honestly, just adding this alone is already such a nice place to come be like, hey, I need this link. And I don't have to be like searching around for it or digging into any documents. And so this kind of view, this list serves two purposes, which is that one, it was to create the projects to actually, or like create and manage the projects, the tasks, so that these things could become completed. But also in the future, once they're already finished, is just to keep track of, you know, the links and where those assets live. So that's a really cool thing that I've added to this project. And I think that will be really cool. And it just showcases too, like, how you can customize it. Like nothing ever has to be set in stone with ClickUp. And I think that's so cool because like a lot of tools, they kind of just have what they have in their functionality and it just is what it is. But with ClickUp, it's never just one thing. It can always be evolving and changing. And I understand that that is a little overwhelming at times when you're just starting to learning the tool. But once you really know how it works, like it just opens up so much opportunity to create whatever it is that you need when you need it, right? Okay, so moving on. Coming back to our project view, now having looked at like our product development, those that product development list we were looking at, we can see them here as well. So the purpose of these was just, I just really wanted to, again, set a date for myself and say, I want to get the blog for this funnel done by this date, right? December 14th seems really late. I don't know why that was set to that late, but when you work for yourself, it's so, you have to like have some accountability, and it can be good to just kind of set a date and try and stick to that and work towards creating or completing that. And I think that has been really helpful for getting all of this done, because this has been a really involved project. So many different elements, and we're not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. So it's still a work in progress, but I achieved a lot in a really short period of time, and I'm really proud of the quality of work. And it's been fun. It's been creative. And I think that's the most important part of why I think ClickUp is so helpful for marketing things, is that it kind of takes away that overwhelm of the project management piece. Like that's kind of that's easy to organize and manage, and actually creating everything is easy to do and manage because it's actually inside. So let me show you that too. So the other thing that I really love about using ClickUp for like creating assets is, again, like I said, it's to manage all of the asset components, but it's also to like keep track of everything to do with this particular asset, right? So the client and I have been working inside of a Google Doc, so I have that linked right inside of the task. There's also some docs that I've created, which was kind of me taking the rough copy and working it, reworking it. These are some actual ChatGPT outputs, but anything that you needed to create it. So I'll give you another example. So for the micro masterclass offer, we have a link to the Google Drive video file. This is actually not a very good example. What is a better example too is even for email marketing, right? So very same thing. Products are different in the sense that they are obviously products, but emails are still, a piece of content that you have to create. So this task is a project to create and finish this ebook lead nurturing sequence, but within it, I actually have the doc where I did all the work, right? So this is where the strategy started, and I started doing the copy, and we're doing like the client review is happening inside of here for the most part as well, so that they have a place to put their comments and we can track it over time. So it just serves as like two purposes, right? Like before we probably would have been using a Google Doc, and sometimes we still are, but we're putting it inside of the task. It's just eliminating how much we have to click around. And then two, in the future, when you want to go back and look at something, it's really easy to find it because it has a home, right? And so the last piece, I guess, that I'll share in this video comes back to the idea of like really managing projects in terms of your times, right? So actually there's two things I could probably show you at this point. One is when I actually scoped out this project with the client, I kind of broke out the contract into different line items and attributed a number of hours to certain types of functions. So actually that's not as important in this case, but what I do want to show you is I was guesstimating how much time things would take me, I guess, is really the main point. And the best part about that too is that I can then come back and retroactively review, like, okay, I said this would take me 7.5 hours, and wow, man, it took me actually this first time I'm really noticing that it was exactly 7.5 hours. Or even here, I thought it would take an hour 20 minutes. It took an hour 13 minutes. Like, this is really valuable information for a few reasons. Like, one, if I wanted to repeat this product again, this gives me a sense of how long certain things take, and so I can do a better job of estimating in the future. But it also gives me, I guess that's really it. It just gives me that. I can't remember if I had a different point there. But you just really want to be able to look back on this information and do a better job of projecting how long things will take you in the future, and just getting a sense for where your time is going. So that's the first piece, is I really like the time estimates. And two, I want to point out that time estimates are rolled up from subtask time estimates, right? So I had a number of subtasks here. They were all completed, but these all had time estimates attributed to them. And because it was on an individual level. Okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. I can estimate time for that. I can't estimate how much time it's going to take me to do an entire ebook. So I like that as well with ClickUp, is it rolls up individual tasks into your project estimate. So to give you a sense of how that works. And then the other piece that's really cool about the time tracking and the time estimates is inside of the scope management dashboard that I talk about all the time. I'm going to cover the sensitive information here about the actual rates that they're paying. But we have here like a breakdown of where this time has gone for this client, right? So I think this is so cool. It's so cool. Like product development, I've spent, and I have the time to set to the entire duration of this project as well, right? It's a custom date range. So it's populating all the time for this project. So I've spent 27, almost 28 hours on this project, and I estimated that they paid me for 31. So I'm monitoring this all the time to know, okay, I really need to be better about, I can't spend a lot of time on things because I know I only have X number of hours left. And so I'm looking back at projects as well to think at where I estimated and how I could improve and where that remaining time is going to go. So this has been really helpful as well for the project management aspect and just making sure that we're on track and that the project hasn't gone completely off the rails. So all of those things together have really laddered up to this being such a smooth project. The only thing I would say in terms of how it could be better has been the client involvement part. I know they have been feeling overwhelmed about ClickUp while we've been going through this together. And I will say I'm guilty of just firing things off at them and not really giving them a place or even any training. So that's one thing I need to work on for my ClickUp right now is client, how they're engaging and where they can find information and just trying to make it easier for them. I need to give them some training or something as well. But I hope that's helpful. I think these real world examples are what help us understand how ClickUp can be used, because it can be used in so many different ways. But it's incredibly powerful, and I hope that came through in this video. I was just sparked with inspiration from a really incredible couple of weeks of working in the tool, and I wanted to share it with you. So yeah, great. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if any of this didn't make sense, if you have any different ways of using ClickUp that I'm not thinking of. I love talking about ClickUp, so please, comments are there. Also, if you're thinking about using ClickUp and you're not quite sure if it's right for you, I do one-on-one consults. They're 1 hour long and they cost $150. Really great way to determine if it's the right solution before you waste any time in it at all. We can also go over your existing workspaces, and you can show me where your pain points are. I can show you my workspace. Really great way to improve how you're using it and get the most out of it. Okay, so those are the options, and I'm going to create another video at some point. Right now it's pretty ad hoc, but until then, if you want to join my email list, you can also get weekly emails from me. I'm still doing weekly emails with ClickUp tips because I'm always learning new things about the tool and how to use it. Join that if you're interested in that, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.